Yo, what's up guys? Today we're going to be going over the likelihood of what support champions you're going to see in the League of Legends World Finals for 2022. As you can see, I've already put some characters or champions into the no chance category. The reasoning for this is I've reviewed about 1,200 games, you heard that right, 1,200 games for the teams that are coming in, more specifically their last 50 esport matches, and the champions that have made it into the no chance category are the ones that have never been played by the support player for that team throughout those past 50 games. So we're automatically going to knock those out and get those out of the way. And the rest of the champions that we're going to go through today have at least been played once this season. So let's just hop right into it. First and foremost, we have Amumu. Amumu is pretty hot right now. A lot of teams have been picking him up ever since his buff. He has been played by 17 out of the 24 teams that will be attending Worlds at some point over the past 50 games, and he's also been played about 32 games total out of that 1,200. So he's not the highest pick rate, but teams are prioritizing him more and more for a decent tank champion or decent tank support. So we're going to put Mumu in the very likely category. If not, I'm actually going to put him in the 100%. I really do think at some point someone's going to pick a Mumu just because we've been seeing him play more and more towards the end of the season. Alistar is a staple that we really see throughout Worlds. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if Alistar has ever missed a Worlds when it comes to people picking him at least one time. That being said, he was picked by less teams overall than Amumu of the past season. He's only been played by 14 out of the 24 teams overall, and he has been played a little bit more at 37 games total. So while he's more than likely, I can't put him in the 100% category, I'm still going to put him in very likely category. Ashe support. Ashe support's super exciting for me. You guys know we did a good video on that in the past and how to play it. She did start trickling in as she started to get more popular in solo queue into ranked play, but that being said, she's only been played 13 games total over those past 1,200 games between all teams and only been played by 9 out of the 24 teams. I think we have the potential of seeing her, and I'll just go ahead and move her there now, the potential of seeing her if a team really needs a good engaged champion in the support role and also wants to play more safe. So we'll leave her there for now because I think there's a pretty good opportunity. Bard is one of our champions that has seen the least play between all teams. There's a reason for that in pro play. It's a little bit harder to roam and get roams off when you're Bard because teams are going to be ready for it. There's only a few players out of all of our 24 teams that have even touched Bard over the past year. About 5 teams in total have played him, and it's really from all regions. As I'm checking my notes over here, we have 1 player in the LCK that picked him up this year, 1 player in Europe, 1 player in LCS, 1 player in Southeast Asia, so 1 player in Latin America, 1 player in Oceania. It's really spread pretty thin there, which kind of, increases our chances a little bit, especially during the play-in stage. But overall, I don't think Bard is normally a very, contested pick really ever when it comes to Worlds. So I'm going to put him in the low chance category. Beautiful start. We have basically someone in every category. Braum is one of the safest picks that you can pick in the support role. Overall, it's not very hard to pilot. You're very consistent. You know what you're getting. That being said, he's not like the biggest playmaker out of all supports, but people are trying to be safe at Worlds. They don't really want to take risks, especially in the early stages when everybody feels like they have a chance to win. Braum is our most heavily played support out of everyone that we've gone through so far. He appeared in 47 games over the past season, I guess we can say, and also 23 out of the 24 teams played Braum. So we have a chat alert here. There's one team out there that has not played Braum at all, and that team is our Vietnamese team, Saigon Buffaloes. Support Taki has not played Braum once over his past 50 games. So Braum is more than likely absolutely going to show up in finals at some point, so we're going to move him to the 100% tier. I really think there's no chance that he does not show up. Blitzcrank has been sadly heavily overshadowed by his partner Nautlius. Many of these teams, especially the Southeast Asian teams, love picking up Nautlius. Naut has been picked about 50% of the time for them between the last games, and Blitzcrank for them has been picked never. We only saw Blitzcrank this season specifically on our players that are attending in 6 games total, and 4 out of the 24 teams playing Blitzcrank. I really think he's just going to be heavily overshadowed by Nautlius, and if Nautlius is banned, I do believe they'll just pick up something else that we're going to see in the 100% category. While again, I put a lot of these champions already in no chance to start, I'm going to put Blitzcrank in the no chance category. It's a little scary because Blitzcrank is a staple in the support role, but I'm feeling pretty strongly that we more than likely will not see a Blitzcrank. Camille. After just ranking Blitzcrank in the no chance category, some of my Camille is going to be a little bit of copium here. Camille has only been played by 1 person over the past 1,200 games when we're looking looking at our pro teams. And that person, as you can guess, is going to be Keria from T1. Keria has a pretty wide champion pool. I'm sure at some point he'll pick some wacky picks overall. I'm not going to put her in no chance because I really just want to see her be picked overall in a pro final. So we'll put her in very low chance because we have no fucking idea what Keria is going to do as the tournament keeps going. So for now, that's where she'll go. Next up is Galio. Galio was only really picked when I was looking through our past match history for all of our players in the way beginning of the season, if not even last season. When we look at the last 50 games, he's really fallen out of grace. There's not much that he can do that other champions can't do better when we're looking at those champions that are already in the 100% or very likely category. He was only played 2 games total overall, and with that, he was only picked once per team, so appearing for 2 teams as well. Galio is just really lackluster right now in the support role, so I'm going to put him no chance at all. Gragas is a great counter pick for certain champions, so I don't want to rule him out at all. He had a pretty low pick rate over the past 50 games for all of these teams. He only appeared in 7 games total, and only 6 out of the 24 teams played him, so 25%. Again, great counter pick if we do see something like an engaged champion that throws their body like Rell or something of the sort. He's a way to deal with that really easily. So I do think potentially we will see a Gragas if we see some other champions that are going to be countered by him. Karma is just one of those support champions that I feel like you can really pick in any matchup and feel pretty okay. It's a pretty solid blind pick overall. You're going to be fine in lane regardless, and some of these teams clearly feel that way as well. Still a pretty low overall game total over the past 1,200 games that we analyzed, 18 games total for Karma, and also about half the teams played her, 11 out of the 24 teams played her in their past 50 games. But when we're thinking about World Finals and we're thinking about how safe people want to be in the beginning, I do think that Karma will show her face at some point throughout the finals, especially if we're going to be heavily leaning into this Enchanter meta, and she kind of fits both Poke and Enchanter pretty well. I'm going to put her into... gosh, I'm going to put her into very likely right now. I think she's more likely than both Gragas and Ashe, so there's no really justification for me to put her into potentially at this point. Here's another wacky one for you. I'm going to give you one chance to guess who played this when I list off this champion. But what we're looking at next is going to be Lee Sin. Lee Sin, we have not done a video on, but I'll tell you, has one of the best AP scaling when it comes to his shield potential, and also, as you could have guessed potentially when we did our little pop quiz there, was played by Keria. Once again, will we see Lee Sin in the finals? Oof, I really don't believe so, but again, since I'm going to copium down here, we're going to say Keria is going to ball out at some point and pick some crazy champions, so I'll put Lee Sin in very low chance. Leona is just a staple when it comes to the support role, especially in competitive play. She's not really seen many changes ever since the durability patch, and over the past year, she's been, out of all champions we reviewed so far, the most picked at this moment. 81 games total out of those 1,200 analyzed, and 17 out of the 24 teams that are going to finals have picked her at some point within their last games. So Leona feels like it's going to be a surefire bet. These players like feeling comfortable when they pick their champion, so we're going to pop her into the 100% category. Very true. And followed up is another easy, quick 100%. Lulu, if you watch any type of LCS or LEC or, you know, League of Legends esports in general, has been a problem for about a season and a half now. Very safe pick, very great synergy with a lot of the ADCs that are meta at this moment, and she has been even outclassing Leona, picked more times than any other champion that we were just talking about. 115 games total between the teams, picked up by 21 out of the 24 teams in the past 50 games. Now, you may be asking what teams didn't pick Lulu, who was hindering themselves so much that they wouldn't pick this cracked champion. I'll tell you, both of our Southeast Asian representatives in CTBC Flying Oyster and Beyond Gaming have not picked Lulu one time, potentially to their detriment. And then also the only other team that has not picked Lulu at all in their past 50 games is Oceania, or Chiefs Esports, excuse me, from Oceania. So Lulu, without a doubt, is going to make her way into the 100% category. You're going to see this champion way more than you wish you ever did before, unfortunately. But that's how the cookie crumbles when we get to pro play. Lux is next, and Lux, really you don't see very often at all, but was played 5 games total and by 3 teams over the past 50 games through all the teams that are attending. Those teams include our Japan representative, Detonation Focus Me. They also include our Brazil representative, Loud, where they played her 1 game as well. And then finally, she also, more than anything, was played by Rogue over their past 50 games by Trimby, 3 games on Lux out of his 52 games total that we analyzed. We'll still probably not see her. Again, people are being very safe. And if we look into our no chance category, you may notice that what really has taken a hit here when it comes to normal supports when we're looking at no chance is going to be our poke and artillery supports. We have Brand down here, we have Vel'Koz, we have Xerath. Lux being in semi that category, I also feel like we're going to have a very low, if not no chance to see her in the finals, unfortunately. Morgana is picked mostly as a counter champion, and you'd think with more than likely all of these champions like Nautlius or Leona, we're going to see a lot of Morgana overall, but she's only been played 4 games total over the past 50 between all these teams. And she's been picked up by 3 out of the 24 teams, and the region that is most prevalent on picking Morgana is going to be VCS, or our Vietnam region, where they really just pick her as a Nautilus counter more than anything, appearing 2 games there overall out of about the 100 analyzed from Vietnam. So still a really low percentage potential for Morgana. We haven't really seen her come back into the spotlight as of late from where her high throne once was in the support role. So I'm really going to put her just in no chance again. Again, just way too low of a pick rate over the past 50 games. She's just not where she used to be. A lot of teams do not favor picking her. Here is the thing with Nami. Nami is a champion that was picked by 23 out of 24 of our teams attending World Finals at this moment. 99 games total, so just below Lulu when it comes to top spot or how often picked. But Nami, I would say about 90 to 95% of the time was picked with Lucian because of that disgusting combo that she had with Electrocute that has now been taken away. Ever since Nami got her nerf when it comes to Electrocute, right, she's been picked less and less, and obviously Lucian has too. And while she could appear, I did see her in 1 or 2 games after the nerf where she still appeared. She's going to be way less prevalent than she was overall, potentially not picked at all, I want to say. So while this may be controversial as well, I'm going to put Nami in the low chance category. She's again a support that can work even with that nerf that she got recently, but still I'm pretty concerned with her overall pick rate, and she's just going to have to go into low chance for now. Nautilus is, I'm trying to look through our list here. Yeah. Nautilus is our most picked champion between all regions here, heavily picked over the past 50 games for everybody. A little bit less more recently, but still it goes to stand that Nautilus was picked 173 times total by our teams that are attending Worlds, and every single team that is attending has played Nautilus at some point. There's some regions that clearly favor Nautilus more than others, but he is just a really safe pick overall. His hook is nowhere near as hard to hit as Blitzcrank, and I mean, just to be real, we're 100% going to see Nautilus in the finals at some point. Buckle up. Ornn. I know, I can already hear people again, oh, Ornn's not a support champion. Why would you pick Ornn in the support role if you need level 15 to get his passive, right? Ornn, we've done a video on, we've seen people within solo queue in US specifically get to Grandmaster playing Ornn support. There's only 1 team and 1 player that plays Ornn support in the league, and that is our Latin American team, Isurus, played by the support named Jelly on their team. He played 4 games of Ornn support in his last 50. He won all of them. He won every single one of those Ornn support games. So do I think that potentially Isurus, if they do start losing, I don't want to put any bad juju on them, but if they do start losing, that we may just see just a Ornn support flex on some kids? Probably in a game that they care a little bit less about. So I'm going to put Ornn support into, I'm going to put him in very low chance. It's not fair. I'm going to put all our unique picks in very low chance just to save my soul here. But yes, I'm super excited. I hope we see Ornn support at some point in the finals. And I was very happy to see that at least one of our players was playing something a little off meta and crazy. What's not very off meta or crazy or even good up next is going to be Pantheon. Pantheon also has fallen from grace in comparison to what he was in years past when he was able to block turret damage with his shield. Again, the only person who has picked Pantheon over the past 2,000 games that we've looked at between all our teams is going to be Keria. Once again, he played him, he lost as him. It was not a great game for him overall. And Pantheon, again, is just really weak. I don't think we're going to see him much unless, again, maybe it's a counter pick for someone who needs like quick hard CC on them. But still, I'm going to say there's absolutely no chance that any team is going to new themselves by picking Pantheon support in the finals this year. Sorry, Pantheon mains. Pyke, while you may think has never showed up at all in pro, right, did appear 17 games over the past 50 for all of our teams, or 1,200, whatever you want to say, and 9 out of the 24 teams played Pyke, which was a surprising amount for me. I was a little concerned because I assumed maybe the smaller regions have been playing Pyke, but no, the person that has played Pyke the most when analyzing all of our support players coming over their past 50 esports games has been Targamas. I think I'm saying that right. has been G2 support Targamas. He played him 6 games out of his last 50 and has seen some decent success on him overall. And you already know the next person in line when it comes to how many games played was Keria, again picking him up 3 times. China, on the other hand, does not pick Pyke at all for whatever reason, so we more than likely won't see it from them, but rather either one of our Korean teams or LEC teams. It seems like LEC is going to be our best bet here, as all of G2, Fnatic, and Mad Lions has at least played Pyke 1 time over their past 50 games. So overall, are we going to see Pyke? I would say there is a low chance, probably just as low as Bard, honestly, and Nami, but I think that's pretty accurate. I think there's a low chance we see Pyke. He's kind of high risk, high reward, so unless someone again is goofing around, we more than likely won't see him in a finals. Rakan is up there when it comes to overall pick rate. He's our 6th most picked support champion over every team's past 50 games, appearing in 94 games total and 19 out of 24 teams playing him overall. He's sprinkled pretty wide between all the teams, and with a pick rate that heavy over the past season and some change over here, it's pretty likely, almost 100% likely, some might say, that we're gonna see Rakan at some point in the finals, so look out for him. Rell, this big old piece of hot doo-doo, had a recent buff, so there's potential that we could see her in finals. She's only been played 5 games total, and with that, she's been played by 5 teams too, which means each team, after playing her 1 time, never tried to play her again in their past 50 games. So will we see her in the finals? I'll say there's a very low chance. I know some of our players that are attending finals have a pretty strong Rell. I know Ming's Rell is pretty strong. I know Barrel's Rell is pretty strong. So there's potential there that we could see a Rell, but I'd say it's very, very low. She still just isn't back in the meta at this point, and she's going to have to go. Renata, if you've, again, been watching esports at all, you've been seeing this champion a crazy amount of times. She's been played by 100% of our teams sometime in the past 50 games here. One of the only champions on the list where I can actually say that. And over those 24 teams, she appeared in 113 games total, which is about a 5-game total per team, which is pretty high. There's absolutely no chance we just don't see a crap ton of Renata over this tournament length. Definitely paired with Kalista and other champions as well. Get ready for that. Rumble has only been played by 1 person overall and has appeared in 2 games. Here's the thing. You're going to think the Rumble player is going to be Keria again, right? Which you wouldn't be crazy to think that, right? But really our only player that has played in their past 50 games, Rumble support at all, is going to be our Vietnamese team once again. Saigon Buffalo's Taki, their support on that team, picking him up twice. So I'm pretty hyped to potentially see Rumble support at some point. I think he's almost in the same category as Ornn, where he feels like a specialty pick. But I want to be real with you guys. It's not just Vietnamese teams that pick Rumble. We've seen Korean teams in the past also pick Rumble support. We're just not really seeing the AP carries that thrive with him in the bot lane as of now. So we'll also put Rumble in a very low chance and see, hopefully, him at some point in the finals. So Sejuani support has been picked 3 times total over their team's past 50 games, including by 2 Korean teams. You guessed it again, Keria and T1, and then Lahens on Gen G has both picked Sejuani once. I believe they were both counter picks to Yuumi for quick, easy CC to kind of keep her out of attaching. And then also once by Trimby on Rogue as well. Sejuani support is interesting. We have not done a video on her as of yet, but I do believe at some point we may have a very low chance of seeing her also. So I'll pop her down there, and I think we should get excited for this one too. This is definitely something that's a little bit more zany and wacky, so hopefully we'll get that at least once. So Senna used to be, very hotly contested pick, especially when Tahm Senna bot lane was a very strong thing. That bot lane can still come out every now and then. It's just much lower than it was in seasons past. We just talked about Sejuani only being picked up 3 games total. Senna only had 10 games more than that this season at 13 games total, and 7 out of the 24 teams playing her that are attending Worlds. And I do believe she has a slightly low chance. I'll put her in potentially, actually. It feels like teams will always kind of fall back on this bot lane when they are seeing some troubles at some point. So will we see her? Probably more potentially than we will see Nami, Pyke, or Bard. Seraphine is next. So weird that Seraphine, for a patch or 2, everyone said she was completely broken and nobody plays her anymore. And that's really the games that we're seeing in here. She was played 4 games total over the past 50 games for all of our teams here, and 3 out of the 24 teams played her. We're going to make this one quick. Seraphine is more of a poke support than she is really an enchanter on there, and we know that, again, enchanters are the most dominant thing. And as we talked about earlier, most of our poke supports are seeing the gulag. Will we see Seraphine? More than likely not. in this World Finals. It's a very big doubt, honestly, that we'll see any Seraphine's. She just does not really fit the bill of what is meta. Speaking of people who don't fit the bill of being meta right now, Sett has also appeared in 8 games total over the past 50 for our teams, and also 6 out of 24 of the teams played him. Will we see Sett in the World Finals? I heavily doubt it. He's also kind of in the same realm as Galio support, and where at one point he was pretty hotly contested in the support role. Right now, he just doesn't really fit there anymore, especially with the meta as it is. We're going to put Sett in the no chance category. Next up is Shen support. Now, while none of the major regions have played Shen support, he was picked up twice over the past 50 games by both Vietnamese teams that are attending the finals, which is GAM Esports and Saigon Buffaloes once again. B and Taki, respectfully, picking him up again just one time over the past season. But just like these other predictions I've made that are in very low chance, this is more copium than anything for me. I just really hope we do see him at some point, because clearly it's a pocket pick for them that can work against high attack speed champions. So we'll pop him in there and just be happy. More wacky picks keep coming. Singe support. If y'all don't know, there is one person who picks up Singe support when it comes to the league overall, and that is Korean team or LCK team Lehens from Gen G, being his previous one-trick champion, and that he's now brought to the support role. He has played Singe support within the last season 4 times, and just like our Ornn player, he has won every single game of Singe support that he has played. Do we think Lehens will more than likely whip that out at the finals for some hype and the style on people, especially if they've already made it past groups? Yeah, so we're going to put Singe, just like all of our other wacky picks, in the very low chance category. Hopefully we do see him. It is a pretty stellar and crazy pick. Next up, we have Sona, who's only played 2 games total between all these teams and picked up by 2 teams total. Sona's pretty kind of risky because she's very immobile, obviously, very squishy, and has to get pretty close to have her impact with the team. You might be saying, what 2 teams picked up Sona over the past year? You'd be right to ask. It was only North America that ever picked up Sona. I don't think that they're going to pick her again in the finals. North America does this terrible thing where once they get to finals, they typically follow the meta that is established for them in there, and it doesn't seem like any other team is going to play Sona, so they're not going to contest her, is how it's going to go. So we're going to be a little bit more controversial here and put her in no chance, which leaves way for the more dominant Enchanter support right now, Soraka, to make her way a little bit higher in the list. She's going to go in very likely. She's only been started to be picked up recently again, but again, that recency is more than likely why she's going to be picked up pretty often, if not a good amount. Swain doesn't really feel like a champion that you would ever see in pro play, honestly, on the support role. He's a little bit selfish. He wants to be aggressive early, and if he doesn't scale, then he's just completely screwed. He's only been picked up 1 time throughout the past season. That was again by Targamas on G2. So will we see him in the finals? While I would love to put him in very low chance, I'm just going to put him in no chance. I don't see a world where Swain is really going to make it in, because it's not really even like a flex play or like a, ooh, look at me, I'm so good on Swain kind of moment, right? No one's going to really care. I don't think he's ever going to come out. Tahm Kench is next. Now, again, we talked about Senna earlier, but Tahm Kench is really used as a catch-all for both of our Korean and Chinese teams for any lockdown ability that is ever picked on the opposing team. He's picked more by Korean teams and Chinese teams than any other region, so more than likely we'll see the pick come out from them. He's really not picked as much in North America or EU West, only appearing about 15 games total out of the 99 games he appeared, which again was a majority from our Asian regions over there. So 23 out of 24 of the teams attending have at least played Tahm Kench 1 time over their past 50 games. So we have a chat alert here. That means there's 1 team attending that has never played Tahm support over their past 50 games, and that was Kaiser on Mad Lions from EU West. Will he pick it up? Maybe, but we know for sure that the Korean teams and the Chinese teams are definitely going to pick him up as an answer to some of these hard lockdown champions. So we're going to put Tahm Kench in the 100% category. There's no chance that we're not going to see Tahm Kench as we keep going forward. Thresh has fallen from grace as of late, and Thresh just hasn't been as good as many of the other support champions after various nerfs that he got. Recently for the Worlds patch, he did get buffed once again, specifically to his damage, and even with him being nerfed and pretty poor this past season, he did appear in 20 total games and for 8 teams total. I do believe at some point we're going to see Thresh. People love their Thresh. He's a very safe and versatile champion, and with these buffs, he's more than likely going to at least make his way into 1 game. I'm going to put him in a very likely category. I almost want to put him in 100%, but again, he hasn't been picked as much recently, so we'll leave him there for now. Taric has only been played 4 games total in the past 50, and also has only been played by 3 out of the 24 teams throughout here. The teams that have picked him up are going to be 2 LEC teams in both, again, Rogue and G2, and then 1 Vietnamese team again in Saigon Buffalo, all having some pretty solid success on the pick, but Taric really hasn't found his way into a championship in a long time. That's not saying he's a bad champion, it's just teams don't value him as much as somebody like, let's say, Zilean or Renata, where getting that revive mechanic and protecting someone is a lot less dependent on perfect timing. I just don't think there's much, if any, chance. We'll put him in we'll put him in no chance. I'm sorry, Taric, but somebody else has to make their way down there. As much as it pains me to say, we're going to see a lot of fucking Yuumi when it comes to the finals. She's really safe. She's very strong when you have a team that you can snowball with, and an organized team at that, too. Just like Tahm Kench earlier, Yuumi has been played by 23 out of the 24 teams that are attending World Finals, which means we once again have a chat alert. There's only one team that has not played Yuumi support in their past 50 games, and that has been our Southeast Asian team, CTBC, Flying Oyster. The support on their Koala has not played Yuumi one time, so now I'm rooting for them to win the finals. Basically, if they don't pick Yuumi one time, that means it's a team I can get behind, but basically everybody else out there, every other team, is going to play a pretty decent amount of Yuumi. I'd say we'll probably see her in at least 30% of games overall, so we're going to put Yuumi in the 100% category. She's just too safe not to pick. And then last but not least, we have Zilean on the list. Now, again, we've seen Zilean mostly in the mid lane now. He's been picked by 8 teams out of the 24 that are attending, and in 12 games total. More than likely, we'll see him more in mid than anything, but that doesn't mean that, again, if we have a hyper carry or somebody who needs a speed boost on the team, if we see an Udyr in finals or something like that, or a Hecarim, right, there's more than likely going to be a Zilean paired with them. I wouldn't say the chances are as high as some of those in the very likely categories, so we're going to put Zilean in the potentially category. Definitely in the potentially category as of now, because, again, he hasn't been picked the most, but he has some pretty solid synergy and scalability. All right, guys, well, that's really all the support champions. Leave me a comment below on your thoughts here. Leave me a comment to say if I missed anything or your opinions here, but I think this is a pretty solid list on who we're going to see most often in the World Finals, and I hope this gets you hyped too, as it gets me hyped, when we have the potential to see crazy things like Camille or Ornn or Rumble or Sejuani. There's a lot of cool things that could happen in this World Finals, and I hope this gets you a little bit more juiced, just like it got me juiced. See you guys next time. Peace.